All right, everyone, good evening to you all. I would like to welcome our amazing guest tonight. We have Rena Harvey. Rena, do you want to let us see your amazing face and turn on your camera? Here she
Hi guys.
Great to have you here, Rena.
Thank
Welcome,
you.
everyone. It was a while ago, probably about 12, 13 years ago, my brother, his kids were hanging out with his other kids, and he got bumping into the mum of these kids, and Reno was into all sorts of woo-woo spiritual stuff, and he said, you're into all this weird stuff like my brother. Maybe you should catch up with him. And so my brother connected us, and it was true. We're both into all this weird stuff. And from that time, Rena came on, did my Bali retreat, one of my first Bali retreats, which was really awesome. And it's been an incredible journey for Rena over these years. And I'm going to sort of introduce Rena by getting her to sort of go all the way back to what inspired her to get into all this woo-woo stuff and end up writing this amazing book that you've got. So, Rena, welcome to the group. Welcome to our amazing meditation community. And we'd love to hear from you, firstly, where you are right now and what inspired you to get into all of this work that you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, it's been 14 years ago we did that first retreat in Bali. What inspired me? Pain, trauma, turmoil. I was brought into a really domestic, violent, very abusive household, and the pain was just tumultuous. And around 18, 19 years old, I ran away and got out of the house. And then by my 20s, I'd studied teaching at the time. I was doing a double degree in drama and dance and media. And then I left, I finished my uni and I took a one-way ticket and left and went overseas and, journeyed for, 3 years. And that's where the real pain started to really take over my whole life. And I was the mask, I had the, I was wearing always the masks of nothing's wrong with me and no one would ever know any different, and just began this full-on journey of self-discovery. And I had to, I was a very curious kid, and there had to be more. I used to watch the likes of, back then, if anyone's our age, the Brady Bunch, and thinking that there has to be more on the other side, and there has to be love and safety and security. And yeah, my journey began, I was around 18 years old, where I still got my books, all my books from back then, that I was buying, people were buying Daniel Stills, and I was buying, the Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle. And so I was, looking back at it now, obviously I was a light worker and I had to go through that darkness and I had to go through all that trauma, and then became this obsession. And literally, when I met you, I was in the middle of the obsession of anything, meditation and, any courses, psychosomatic and shamanic work, and whatever course, whatever medium, whatever clairvoyant, whatever healer I could, find and get my hands on. I just wanted to know more and more and more. So that was 30 years. 30 years of a journey, of my spiritual journey. And then 5 years ago, I started my healing practice. Before that, I used to dabble in it and I used to teach it to some kids and I used to do little one-on-ones, but I really didn't embody it and step into it, obviously because of my doubt and all my limiting belief systems. And then literally, as I finished my Reiki, the first client came through, and then they just kept on coming through. And I'm like, I've got around 180 clients that I service from my own home, and I have 3 kids and a loving husband. But it was a huge, huge, you know, it was a lot for me to step into that and claim that I'm a healer, that I'm a Reiki master. But when I started to service all these amazing people and look at all their pain, it was like I knew it, I felt it, I know that. And that's what my purpose is, to empower, and to bring your pain into your power. So I ran a little workshop at the time called Stepping Into Your Warrior. And as I was saying it throughout the course, it was a 4-hour course. And throughout the course, I kept on just saying, it's basically the formula. And this and this and this happens and this happens. And we all go through it. And 8 billion of us all go through it. And it's the formula. It's the formula. And a client at the time just turned around and said to me, Rena, you have to write this in a book. You have to share this knowledge with the world. And so, yeah, here it is, the formula of life: go deeper, rise higher. It's taken me 2 years to write this amazing, beautiful beauty. And it's my whole body of work. It's not an autobiography, it's a very, very small paragraph or two about my life. It is literally looking at the 6 principles and the out of all the things that I did and all the things that I learned. And if you're on your spiritual journey, you'll know you hear the same things over and over again. And the more that you up level, the more that they, come in, and you start to understand that aha moment. But for me, looking back, it was really these 6 major principles that I went through that I found real change, like real transformation. So yeah, I had to write it in a book, and I finished it a couple of months ago. And within 10 days, I got 6 publishing companies, and I'm really humble. I don't know any of this process. I'm asking always for guidance, and I'm always asking for the universe to help me along this journey. And what is it about? Sharing. Yeah, I got that big fat rock out of my chest. That pain, that thing that just took over my entire body and masking all of that pain. And no one cares. Only you care. Only you care what's going on inside of you, because you're the one who's living with these thoughts. You're the one who's living with these emotions every single day. So it was either I'm going to keep on doing this and keep on being the victim, like, as you know, Tom, lots of, especially the older generation still stay in their victimhood and their comfort zone, or I can do something about it and feel different. So, and now I have to, it's my purpose, but it's a must that I share it. So yeah, it just came out last weekend on the 22nd of June. And here is my first interview, like literally, like it's just, I'm stepping in and stepping up wherever I need to be, and to really, I hope that it resides with people, and it, resonates with people. And, they do it, they read the book, but they do the work. You know what I mean? It's dedication, it's practice, as you would know. Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. What a journey it's been for you. I want to go back a little bit to the transition you made from being the student, which is looking to heal yourself, and then going to being the person that supports the student. Because
Yeah.
that's for some of us that are on the call, some of us are kind of in the student phase, and some of us are in the sort of transition phase, and some of us already transitioned across to being the support person.
Yeah.
So when what was it that got you from being the student, I'm receiving, I'm healing, I'm transforming, to I'm going to be the transformer? And what training did you do? How did you make that transition? And yeah, what were the steps you took to get into
Yep.
that place?
Funny enough, I was a bit lost at the time. I came out of 14 years of being a fashion photographer, and I was so lost. And I literally spent and I was at the time I was a single mum as well. So I spent like 3 years in this solitude, and just, going through and through. And funny enough, now looking at it, the formula life was happening to me. I was threading. And I was like, I knew this, and then I knew that. And then how did I know? I would watch people in my day-to-day life, and I was just, helping them. I was advising them. They were coming to me with these problems, and, just friends or family, or just, total randoms in a party. And I was just like, how come they can't see that? How come I can see that? Why am I reading their energy? Why do I know that that person's got so much pain? Is it because I had that, or I've got that and I can relate to it? I think a healer, we're all healers. And I think a healer, or the right healer, the one that you're going to resonate with, has just experienced or has embodied those lessons that you're seeking to get answers to. So I say it like this, I'm just kind of about here, and my clients are just coming into that. And then I move, and then I come up here, and then they come. It's almost like you always know what to do and what to say, and the tools and the techniques, because you've either just experienced it, or it is something from the past. And it's about embodying. I think that I gained so much knowledge and knowledge and knowledge that I would never, every healer used to say to me, oh my God, you could do this work. Oh my God, Rena, you were born to do this work. And I used to just sit there in my doubt, because I had so many limiting belief systems, especially in my childhood, that I wasn't good enough, and I was dumb, and I was all these things. And it took it took like a lot of bravery, a lot of courage. And I was like, Rena, what could go wrong? What could really go wrong? And I need to be certified. At the time, it's funny you said what happened for me to go and get certified, and well, how did I really step into it? Anxiety. I had this crazy amount of dizziness and anxiety that I was experiencing. I felt like it was this like this total um, hole that I just jumped into and I just couldn't get out. I was this like lost. And it was really interesting because when I look back at it, I was like, I said to a friend of mine who had done Reiki, and I said, "Can I have your Reiki master's number? I really, really need to go and do my Reiki." She goes, "Oh, you're going to be a Reiki master?" I said, "No, I would need to get rid of all this residue of this stuff." So it was like healing journey is like one step forward, five steps back, two steps forward. And I don't lie to anyone. It's hard, but it's so worth it because I feel none of that anymore. And then I look at the people who haven't been on their healing journey and they're constantly creating this crazy life. So really, when I started my Reiki and the meditation, the Reiki master was in class, and she was like, "Okay, so when your clients come," and I'm like, "What clients? I'm doing this for me." And then by the time I did number two, she was like, "Yes, Rena, yes, Rena." Was like this standout student, Rena, Rena, Rena. And I was like, "Oh my God." Then I fall pregnant to my third child while I'm doing Reiki. I'm going, "What is going on?" And at 8.5 months pregnant, the first phone call came in, and it was a lady with cancer. And she says to me, it was her daughter who called, who knew I was doing Reiki from a friend, and said, "Rena, I really, really need you to see my mum. She's dying." And I was like, "Oh my God, here I am, 8 months pregnant. Here I am." And that's the moment that I realized I was guided, like that there was this alignment bigger than me. And I got into the room, and at 180, clients later, and I've done workshops and I've written this book, it's all just come through me. Why? Because I've surrendered and I went, use me, show me, it all had to be worth this whole journey. So, yeah, that's how it all kind of happened. And from Reiki, I did sound healing, holistic counseling. I had my teaching background. I was intuitive. I was psychic. I knew how to, tap into people's energy. I know how to tap into, that was just a gift that we all have. But I was just training and practicing and practicing. And yeah, here we are.
Mm. It's so beautiful. What a journey. And, we talked about this in Zen Academy quite often that when we're mentoring, we generally only mentor people that are 5% behind us.
Yeah.
We even sometimes in Zen Academy, I'm mentoring them in real time and things that I'm learning, things that I'm picking up. Hey guys, I just learned this week, and you should try this. And um, a lot of people feel this whole imposter syndrome. I'm not qualified. I'm not far enough along. I need to be enlightened. But as you've shown already, that you were kind of almost transforming people in real time as well as you were growing and evolving and transforming
Yeah.
yourself. You were sort of channeling that back through to your client base. Just tell us, how did the lady with the 8 month the when you're 8 months pregnant, the cancer, what happened to her?
Oh, she was amazing. She stayed with me for 2 years. It got even deeper than cancer. Her daughter gets involved with, they're in Sydney actually. Her daughter gets involved with a really, really big drug dealer. And she says to me, "Not only are you going to help me with my cancer, but you're also going to get my daughter out of jail." I'm like, "What? This lady's tripping out." And the only thing that I could do for her was manifestation and positive thought and alignment, which is in my book. And I was like, "Okay, we're going to do it." Like, I was just like, "Okay, she's delusional. Like, she thinks that I'm just going to be able to do this, but I'm going to help her." And I'm going to say, and I said to her, "Every single time that you speak to your daughter," and she went to maximum security only because she was dating this guy and she didn't know too much about the case, but she was basically just got straight into maximum security. And I said to her, "Everything I tell you, you're going to ring her up and she has to do it. She has to see herself getting out of there. She needs to see herself getting out of bail." Anyway, um, X amount of time later, they had the court cases, all the rest of it. She rings me up and she says, "I want to thank you so much. There is two people that got my daughter out of jail. It was you and the lawyer." And I was like, "What?" And it's just these feedbacks, I mean, I was laughing at it at nighttime. I'm going, I did nothing. But you start to understand how many people are just wanting that guidance. The power is within you. I didn't do anything. I just gave her some tools and techniques that she had to stay really focused. And because she was desperate, she stayed focused. And so she was so aligned. And we were doing Reiki after Reiki and meditation. And, we were doing all these tools and we were doing all these, lifting up vibration and understanding frequency and telling her how to connect to source and connect to herself. And she was giving these messages, ringing up this, waiting for the phone call from, maximum security, going, "Okay, this is what you're going to do. Listen." And she got out. And I was like, "Oh my God." And then, yeah, she got rid of her cancer. And, again, because I know all this stuff, I understood psychosomatics. I understood that we gave ourselves disease. I understood that we gave ourselves all this pain and all the lessons that we had to learn. So, yeah, it was, it's been a great journey.
And so let's dive into the book. What are the six pillars then? What is the formula
Okay.
of life?
So we have connection to source. So they've got six different principles. So we start with connection to source, connection to you. And then we move into reprogramming childhood wounding.
And tell
And
us more about connection to source.
okay,
What is that?
each one? Okay. So connection to source, connection to you is understanding and knowing that you are this human, this spiritual being in this human body. You understand energy. You understand where and how we are formed and where we came from, and the energy and this innate impossibility, and what we really are, and what we connect to, and how we are in this oneness.
And do you
Um,
think just with that, your healing capabilities, because when we really start to wake up to ourselves and to who we are in our reality, that capacity that you have to heal people, we're going to start to realize as more and more humans wake up to the fact that they are source and connected to source and conduits for source, that we're all going to have these innate capabilities. It's going to be disastrous for the pharmaceutical and medical industry, but it's going to be amazing for the planet when humans start to realize that so much of our physical ailments are actually psychosomatic and connected to some sort of form of trauma, whether it's genetically passed on or whether it's something that we've experienced
yeah,
in our own lifetime. And do you feel this is what we're talking about here?
absolutely. I mean, I thought I was the only one. I remember like 3, 4 years ago when COVID happened, I was like, can't people see what's going on here? Like I could see right through it straight away. But then, unfortunately, Tom, there's this really sadness about how many people are asleep. And that's why I was like, oh my God, I have to be dedicated to this work even more. I thought there were so many more people who were awake. I just went, why can I watch this screen and know that this is all bullshit? And why are you watching this and believing in it? I couldn't understand the fear that people live. Yeah. And I don't know if it was because of my childhood and, I had fear in my household. So everything else on the outside was safe. But I just kind of was like this awareness, this consciousness. I thought it was kind of like, I thought it was a little bit more than how sleep people really are. So absolutely, it's about teaching them and making them understand and giving them real tools to kind of go, how can you not believe that you are more?
Hmm.
How can you not believe? And the connection to source, connection to you starts looking at the three aspects of us, which is your higher self, your human self, and your inner child, and how they're always communicating and how they're all connected, and what happens when your human self is in control. And that's the ego. That's that is that the dumb, I call it the dumb self. And then to start to understand how we can bring in that communication, how we can stop and meditate and listen and hear and connect to this, wounded child, and, to understand the free child.
Mm,
Um,
beautiful.
and then to the principle really goes into purpose. At the end, it shows you what's your purpose. If one more person came through my healing room that went, but I don't know what my purpose is, Rena. Stop saying that. Yes, you do. And they're like, but I don't. I said, I'll work it out with you in 2 minutes. And this amazing, tangible way to work it out in 2 minutes. And then went, oh, I thought it was so much more detailed. No, it's not. I didn't say it was a career option. It's your purpose, what you do with these career options, and then looking at the career options that aligns. By the end of that chapter, already they felt this difference. They felt this power, this innate power that they have inside of them, and go, oh my God, I am so much more. So it's really coming out of that 3 dimension and bringing it up to this scale of consciousness, to bring it up into this 5 dimension, to make you understand that you are so much more. Like, we create our own reality. If I can teach you anything throughout the entire book, it's that you create your own reality, and how we can, through these 6 principles, start to understand self. Like, that's what they're really all about.
Mm.
Then we move into reprogramming childhood wounding. Each one threads into another. Reprogramming childhood wounding, where it all starts. I remember someone saying, oh, if I hear one more time that, it's all come from my childhood. Yes, it has. Your limiting belief system, your subconscious thoughts have come from your childhood between the ages of 0 to 10 in your formative years. And you have put meanings to stories, and you can keep it. And I'll show you proof. And I will keep on showing you proof how this is happening until you stop. Neurology tells you 21 to 27 days to change that belief system, change the cellular level inside your body, and to stop believing that. That's where all that fear comes from, all that doubt, all that unworthiness. I'm not good enough. It's all of the programming that the wounded child, and to bring it back to free child so we can really feel what freedom is all about. But there's work there. There's 30 days. I tell them 30 days, you're not going to do it. And then I say to them, and it's not going to be only for 30 days. It's going to be 30 days to begin with. But I still reprogram my childhood wounding. Do you know what I mean? And this is like, 48 years later. Then we go into positive thinking and alignment, which is more your manifestation, your relationship with money, your relationship with your thoughts. These thoughts, these 60 to 80,000 thoughts that we have a day, and 75% of them are negative, 95% of them are repetitive. And it's like, if you do not stop and consciously change these negative thoughts that are on repeat, this is how you're stuck in the comfort zone. Oh, that sounds nice, but that's too hard. That's okay. You get up, you do the same thing, you hit the alarm clock, you do this, you do that. And there's certain things that I don't do in my life, or I change as soon as I start seeing that they become really habitual, because then it starts getting my brain into that, momentum of getting stuck again and in that comfort zone. So positive thought and alignment is all about the scale of consciousness, rising your vibration, removing the shame, the guilt, bringing it up to, to higher vibration, more than 432 hertz, understanding what that all is, and knowing that you have the conscious choice. Life is not happening to you, it's happening for you. So then we start bringing it into the light and dark sides of ourselves. So we're starting to really look now, and you start to see as you're coming through these chapters and coming through these principles, understanding me. Yeah, we're not looking at the outside. We're never looking at the outside. We're always looking here. And then the outside starts coming in and it still resembles what you need to learn. And the light and dark sides of your soul, your being. So the light and dark sides of your being is everyone thinks the undesirable things about you. I'm a controller. I'm, egotistical. I'm, boisterous, all these things that they need to hide them. No, to be in your authentic self. I could not believe how many people, gurus and spiritual teachers talk online about people being their authentic self. What is the authentic self? We've been conditioned, we've been programmed, we have trauma, we have all these triggers. I don't even know who I am. Yeah. And so this is all about really understanding both sides. And when you understand the light and how it serves you, but sometimes it doesn't serve you, and then you start to understand the dark side of you, and sometimes, many times, it actually serves you. But when you're in control of it, so we're talking about, response, not reaction. We're talking about not being triggered, but knowing, hey, and I give you really great examples in the book, and start to understand the two sides of you. Because I remember, I was really controlled in my entire life. It starts being it was part of me as well. And so when I got older, I was out of control, and then I got married, and then he was out of control. Then I became the controller, and here's the lesson going round and round in circles until I go, hold on. I love when I can be in control in a situation that's out of control. So bringing out the darkness when it's needed, and when I need it, I need it to get me out of this situation. I'm not going to bring out my compassion when there's something out of control. I'm going to say, hey, controller, come over here. I need you, and embody that, and then step forward. So it's really starting to understand the duality, and everything has duality. I remember a client a couple of weeks ago said to me, does everything that happens good in my life, does something have to happen bad? And I was like, stop looking at it like that. Look that there's joy in the good and joy in the bad, right? And let's stop calling it bad, but that darkness and the light, the yin and yang. And this whole principle shows you what it means. So, heartbeat, up and down. A heartbeat's up and down, up and down. A heartbeat's not straight, that's death. So why are you always happy when you go up, but then when you go down, you start getting really, really upset? Be like, wow, what's going on here? Okay, this is shit. Something's going on, but there's something here. Let me see. I look at life now as this game, and then I'm up leveling all the time. And I have to, with the tools and the knowledge that I have and the wisdom that I have, how do I get through this? How do I go, but one step before that, I know that I've created it anyway. So then we go from there into masculine and feminine, the feminine masculine powers. Don't get me started on what's happening in the world right now with all this confusion, but there is only two powers, masculine and feminine, and it is a unity and a relationship within here. So this is where we start to look at ourselves and our relationship with deeper ourselves, but then it starts to come out to the exterior, which is the relationship with your intimate partners, your ex intimate partners, if you're single or if you're in a relationship, start to understand a lot more of how they are the reflection of what you're lacking inside your own relationship. So I love this chapter. It's so profound, which then brings you to the last chapter, which is relationships and soul contracts. The soul contracts, the soul members that we travel lifetime after lifetime in this cluster, and the roles that they play for us to get our lessons. So it goes right back to the beginning, so we can get onto our purpose. So I want to share something that when I got off the phone with you the other day, I remember I want to share something really amazing. Tom, when I did the course in 2010, we were in Bali, and I remember you did this activity, and it was about forgiving the person who gave you the biggest impact, the person who hurt you the most. And of course, for me, that was my father. He was the abuser throughout my entire life. And I remember you said to me, everyone write the letter, everyone send it, send it out into the ether. I wasn't actually sending it to the person unless you chose to, but I remember it being sending it out to the ether and energetically. And you looked at me, or you came to me after the class and you said to me, except for you, Rena, you need to go and tell him in his eyes. I don't know if you remember that. And I said, what? Why? Why do I have to? No one else had to do that. Why do I have to go and say that? Anyway, so I knew at the time I was tested and I had to be a good student because I loved being a good student and, taking it in. And I got off the aeroplane back in Melbourne and I called him and I said, Dad, can you come and pick me up, please, from the airport? And he said to me, sure. And I was so nervous. I was like, okay, Tom just said, I just have to say the words. I forgive you. I just have to say the words. And we drove back to the house, and I at his house because he said, I'll drop you off to your house. I said, no, drop to your house. And I was so nervous to say these words. And I said to him, just say it. Don't worry, just say it. We get to his home, and I said to him, I just want to say something to you. And he goes, yeah. And I said, I forgive you. And I remember as clear as day, he turns around, he shakes his head, and he goes, I forgive you too. And I was like, what? Like I was a child. And that took me down from 2010, which 14 years later, took me down this massive rabbit hole of the last principle, soul contracts, relationships and soul contracts, and the karma and the lessons and the negotiation and the contracts that we have. I chose it all and I signed the line. And oh my God, did that change everything in me. So yeah, the book was me going through this healing. I wasn't doing it because I was going to be a healer. I wasn't doing it because I was going to write a book. I wasn't doing any of that. That was purpose. But it was really just to get the pain out. And he's still a narcissist. He's still egotistical. He's still verbally abusive. He's calmed down in physically and everything else. But that's not my problem anymore. It's my lessons that I've had to learn, and the relationship that we had negotiated and contracted, with all these members. So yeah, I thought of that when we got off the phone. I started laughing because I actually say that to some of my clients. I said, I had to go and, tell my abuser, I forgive you. And he said, I forgive you too.
What an amazing story. Thanks for sharing that. Such incredible insights in that book. And I'm sure it's going to add so much value to so many people's lives because you're kind of like pulling back the veil and kind of ripping it all open for everyone to just get deep into the reality that's more
The
than the reality of,
formula.
yeah, the formula for life. Yeah,
The
it's
formula that we all go through. We all go through this. We all go through this. And people don't understand. And it's got nothing to do with demographic. It's got nothing to do with culture, religion, sexuality. We all go through this. If we are sitting here in this human body, we are all going through this. It's just that people not understand, like they don't know, and fair enough. But when they start to understand and they start to look in, everything just shifts. I've been watching transformations happening to my clients in front of my very eyes. And because I see them when knowledge is power, yeah. So they start to understand it and they're like, oh my God, now I understand. And when I thread it for them And basically at the end, and so now I wrote the book, I got it published, and a couple of weeks, probably around a month ago, I hear a very, in one of my meditations, a very clear message, and it says, now the work begins, Rena. And I'm like, what work? I just spent 2 years writing this. And it said, help people apply it. So now I will be live on stage every month. And then, hopefully then, travel with it to just help you apply it. Bring me the problem, give me a problem, and I will apply it. I will take one of these principles and then sometimes it's 2 or 3, and just keep on helping you apply it, keep on helping you apply it so you can process it, so you can embody it, so you can really embody it. That's where truth and that's where authentic self comes through.
Amazing. So powerful. We've got some time for the audience. If anyone here would like to ask a question, you can just put up your hand, or you can just put it in the chat. And then what we'll do is we'll get you to ask a question. If you've got anything that you'd like to know from Rena about the book or the journey she's been on or the work that she does. And while people are sort of taking their time to put up their hand or ask any questions if they have any, Renee, you mentioned, I saw somewhere, whether it was your Instagram or whether it was your LinkedIn or something, the word witch. What is a witch? And are you a witch?
A witch or a wizard, right? It's
And yeah, what are they?
it's the light workers. It's the people, that the mystics, the magic, the people that believe that there's so much more, the people that understand and create life for them and understand the magic of it all, the manifestation, vibration. It's not the traditional witch with the hat and the nose and the ha ha, and but have I been burned to a stake before? Because I had these, absolutely. I've seen it in past life regressions. It was, for womankind, it was women with power, and the men who understood the secrets to healing and to transformation. It's really, me and you, real Tom, and all the people that are here, watching us and, spending time with us on our journey. Everyone who comes through my room, I know has, the witch in them. It's not that traditional. It's understanding yourself at a deeper level and understanding how the magic of the universe works, and how we create and how we use the power of creation, and how we are God and God is us. It's that. Absolutely.
Beautiful. We've got a question from Sarah. Sarah, do you want to ask a question?
Hi, Sarah.
Hi, thank you. That was so cool. My question is, do you think like this work is never done? Like my thing is like,
Absolutely.
I feel like I'm never going to get to where I feel like I want to be, like I'm
Don't
always
be attached
struggling
to the outcome though, Sarah. So absolutely, there's always an up leveling. So when you think you've learned something, and there's layers, right? So if you've got a limiting belief system and you think something, I don't know, I'm not worthy, or I'm not brave, or I'm dumb, or whatever it is, there's layers to that. And when you go, oh my God, I got it. Like I remember when I really understood accountability. Oh my God, I got it. I got it. I've got it now. And like 5 months later, it was like, what? Why am I seeing that again? Yeah. So there's layers and layers to it. Absolutely, it's never done. That's why I was saying it's the heartbeat. It's only done when we stop, and the scale of consciousness, the last, the top of the scale is enlightenment. I believe that there's no enlightenment in this human form. As enlightenment happens when we pass over, in that moment, when you're starting to pass over as this soul's evolution, Sarah playing Sarah in this lifetime, right? And then she'll pass over. When she passes over, that's when she's learned enlightenment in this lifetime. But absolutely, it's ongoing. Do I still get triggered? Absolutely. Do I still get angry? Absolutely. I'm human, but it's so little. It lasts for 3 seconds. I understand where the heat comes from. I identify the wounded child. I identify the limiting belief system. I know what's going on inside of me. And I'm like, hold on, I got this. I got this. Yeah, it's still burning. Keep going. I keep on talking to her. Calm down. It's all right. You know where this is coming from. So what happens when you're doing more healing? You just know the answers a lot quicker. Where before that, you're just getting angry. And now you're angry. And now you're blaming everybody. And it's his fault. I had a client who just kept on coming here. I was like, please stop seeing me. You're not getting it. She just kept on coming and kept on coming me, telling me how much it was her husband's fault. Everything was her husband's fault. Every time I would return it and bring it to her, she'd get so triggered. So she's still sitting in her ego. She's not open up to see what her lessons are. Yeah. So absolutely do not.
Because I look at all my teachers and I think I like have them up at this really high pedestal. And I can see it in them, what I want to see in myself. And maybe it is just because I'm super hard on myself. Because I know there's part of me that's like, yeah, you're amazing too. But then I just don't see myself up there where I put all these other teachers.
The fact that you can say the word that I see, listen to your words, I see them, you see that in yourself. Your limiting self-belief system stops you from stepping into it. What you see in them lays in you.
Yeah.
It's you. It's in you. You have that power. You just need to get rid of your limiting belief system so you can step into it. And it's scary. It took me years. Oh, yeah, come on, calm down. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, yeah, people are going to listen to you. You know what I mean? You were like twisted. You were this. You were manic. You had so much anxiety. Oh my God, you were so psycho. Stop. And then you kind of go, oh my God, why does it keep on pushing? Why does it keep on pushing? So you're drawn to it. You're drawn to it, you know what it is, but your limiting belief system, your fear and your limiting thoughts, these beliefs, which are just a lie, is keeping you small.
Definitely. And one last question. With childhood trauma, how much work do you feel like you have to continually do on the childhood trauma for it to be like where you can just go, okay, well, you can't blame your parents for everything as a 45-year-old person, or you can't sort of be like, oh, it's because when I was a little girl, blah, blah, blah. Like, so at what point do you just go, okay, that's in a suitcase now, I can like...
It's not in a suitcase. Because you'll know it, like when you do that chapter, that principle, and you identify it, then you know it. Do you know what I mean? I knew that when I was a little girl, and my story was, one of my stories was, sometimes they're really like small and stupid. You know what I mean? They don't always have to be these crazy, profound, traumatic, you know what I mean, life stuff. But as soon as you find out, I was the last chosen on the cricket team. Everyone was chosen. What was the meaning? Little Rena put it to the story. You don't like me. I'm not good enough. I'm shit. Yeah. So when you identify that, when I start to create evidence of that little meaning, of that little girl's meaning, and I can start seeing it in my life, right? Now it's up to me as conscious Rena who's doing the healing, Rena who's going through the transformation, to go, okay, hi, I nurture you. It's okay, baby girl, I got you. You are so liked. You are actually loved, and you are so powerful, and you weren't here to be a cricket player. So let's, So it's constant, but it's constant, but really after that 30 days, 60 days, you've got it. You'll watch it and you just kind of, you're like, the boss, you know what I mean? You sit back and you kind of pat yourself on the back going, oh my God, in this situation, I would have been so triggered. I would have got so angry, but look at me now identifying that she's the one who's sooking. Right? And who's she? She's the one who's sooking is the ego, the trauma, the trigger, the victim, the comfort zone, the subconscious belief system. It's, the limiting, right? So when you understand that, they just happen less and less. So it's not like, oh my God, when are we going to stop doing that? No, we'll identify all of it. You'll see all of it. You reprogram all of it. And then it's on repeat, Sarah. They're on repeat. That little girl is on repeat. She has been saying the same story for 45 years.
Yeah.
And now she has to stop. And who has to be conscious enough to do that? Your higher self, speaking to your human self. And now it's up to you to be the parent of little Sarah and go, baby girl, I've got you. And I'm not going to give you the power to speak like that anymore. If you're drawn to do that, and we could chapter 1, connection to source, connection to you, you'll see what your purpose is in the chapter, and then step into it with no fear.
Thank you so much. I look forward to reading your book.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you.